Okay, gang, welcome to my Ruby review tier list ranking review thing. Yeah, I kind of was working on this for like 2 days, and then I was like, man, I got school, and so I never could finish this thing. So I finally got some free time and finally finished it. Also, I'm recording all this on my phone, so if it sounds like a heap of ass, it's good it's on my phone. I don't have a microphone, so if you want to send one over, then I'll be happy to use it and take it. But yeah, finally got this out. So if you want to see more of this, I probably say it in the video still. So I might do more Ruby related content. So yeah, subscribe, like, something. I don't know. Share it, Facebook share. I don't care. Just fucking enjoy. All right, so coming in at number 8, we have Volume 8. Very fitting. Honestly, I don't even feel like talking about this one because it doesn't even deserve to be talked about. So, F tier, absolute shitter. Never watching this shit again. So, yeah, that's Volume 8. Moving on to number 7. All right, so coming in as the second worst volume, we have, or at least number 7, we have Volume 5. Now, this one is hated for a reason. So, for starters, the story's pretty simple. You get a person is part of MacGuffin, and they have to get that person to the MacGuffin so they can get the thing inside the MacGuffin. And then, yeah, that's basically it. So that's the whole story. So, what about the characters? Well, the characters range from uh, ass to ultra ass. Some of them are pretty bland. They don't do anything, so you can't hate them because they just don't do anything. But I guess you can hate them for not doing anything, which I do. Most characters get nerfed in here, which I like to call the animation curse because, yeah, they don't fight in this one. Like, Ruby was known for, like, guns turning into weapons and using said weapons to fight each other. But now, this is animation curse where it takes too long or it takes too much time to actually animate the fights and make them, like, high octane, crazy as they ever were. So instead, what they do is they hit each other a few times and then monologue, and then hit each other a few extra times and monologue again. And even better, they sometimes just stand around and do nothing. So yeah, that's a really pleasant way to just animate now. It's just kind of wacky. So that wasn't really pleasant to look at or see or hear or taste or smell. And then we have the characters. Now, some of these characters they introduce are just straight garbage. Like Lionheart felt like a pretty decent character. We felt like this character you kind of sympathize over, but then he just gets killed. He doesn't have an arc. It's like an arc, but then the arc never finishes. It just kind of stays there because he's dead. So Lionheart was pointless. Hazel came out slightly interesting and menacing, and then it was just revenge story. Oh, okay, cool. He blames Osprey. That's epic. And then Raven's just the same character as Yang, but she has a gimmick, a MacGuffin on her. She's just a maiden. And then the fake maiden, I don't even know what her name was like Veronica or something. I don't even remember. She's Veronica now. I didn't like her. She had like no fucking. Her design was awful. First of all, and she has served no purpose at all. I mean, she served a purpose, but it was a really bad purpose and a small one at that. Like nothing really changed because of her. And yeah, that's basically it. The story takes too long. I mean, Adam. I almost forgot Adam and the White Fang and the whole thing in the island was kind of wacky. That's probably the best part of it, but best is like putting it to really high standards. Because Adam shows up with like 5 guys from the White Fang, and that was it. He showed up with like 4 dudes to go fight in the Haven Academy, and then everyone just beat him up. Yeah, that was kind of it. So Adam got shafted. So no more to him in this one. So it was fucking pointless. Ilya was pretty cool. Sun was pretty cool. It looked like I guess it looked okay, but this one was just kind of bad. I just couldn't bear it. It was so slow. I hate this one. So coming in at number 6 as the third worst volume, you have volume 4. And honestly, worst isn't like we're in the territory now where these volumes I don't necessarily hate. It's just not a whole lot for me to love, so they just kind of sit in the limbo. But this is a pretty decent spot. This is where we get to volumes that aren't that great, but they're not entirely the worst. So volume 4 kind of sticks out mostly because it's a slower season, which I'm not. Don't get me wrong, I don't hate like slower seasons. I just honestly think that they should get slower sometimes, since most of the volumes can just be kind of fast, 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 and keep going with the story. World's ending, keep going, develop more story, more story. Volume 4 is more developing the characters and going into depth about their goals, their motivations, and their flaws, and I like that. That being said, it can kind of get a little too slow sometimes. Like the gaps, there's a lot of different stories you have to follow and juggle around with. We have Team Ruby and Team Ranger. Then we have not team, but we have Yang. Then we have Blake, and then we have Weiss's story, and then top of that, we also have Oscar's story, which is kind of mixed in there too. So there's a lot of things you got to keep in mind with each character and their characters and their story, and then all of them are eventually concluding to the end, which is going to Haven, which all of them do except for Blake. But like that's basically it. Like they don't feel too unique. Everyone's just kind of talking about their feelings and everything, and all of them just kind of come out the same. That being said, there's a little bit of good stuff in here. I like the Nevermore Grim. I like Tyrion, and this one finally got introduced to Tyrion. So he's a pretty cool character. I love Tyrion. That being said, there's not anything else that's like super high expectations in this one. So honestly, it gets just kind of put in limbo. There's not a whole lot for me to hate, but there's not a whole lot for me to love. So I think it's an okay spot. All right, so coming in at number 5, we have Volume 6. This one I think isn't that bad. It's got a whole lot of goods and a whole lot of bads. So let me go over some of them. The story, simplistic, easy to follow through. You won't get lost in this particular episode. The characters, most are solid. They're okay, but some of them, not really. I guess let's start off with the positives first. Ozpin finally gets a little more light to his situation. Instead of just being this morally gray character, now he's a very dark shade of gray. So, and then you have his relationship with Oscar. The whole backstory is revealed about why things are the way they are with Salem and the Grimm and the everything. So even though it's kind of lazy, they just kind of shiny MacGuffin. Tell us what happened. All right, this is what happened. And honestly, could have been slightly done better, but hey, fuck it. I'm not really complaining that much, although I kind of am. But I'll take the backstory. Maria's a pretty cool character. The general is a pretty cool character that they introduced. She was funny enough. And as for the other characters, as for Ruby, Team Ruby, they were all right in this one. There wasn't like anything like overly to go home about with, but then you have Team Juniper, and then fucking them trying to force Pyrrha back into the story in some way. Just fucking stop. She's been dead for like fucking 3 volumes. Let it go. Who gives a shit who the red-haired woman was? I certainly don't. Anyways, after that, you have Adam. You have the whole Bumblebee thing. Them killing Adam, which honestly, finally he's dead because he was really outliving his welcome. And yeah, he finally got sent off, but it was kind of weird since it was a tag team Bumblebee thing that was kind of forced. Granted, I didn't mind it that much, but I know some people do. But hey, he's finally gone now, so rest in peace, Adam. He's probably never coming back. And please hope so, because the more characters stick around, the more it gets bloated, and their arcs just never complete, and the arc just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. As for other characters that are outlive their welcome, Cinder's one of them. Honestly, she should have stopped being alive after Volume 5. She's just not a fun character. She's not a cool character. She's not an overly villainous character. She's just a really whiny, bitchy character. I was never rooting for Cinder at all. Like, she was kind of a one-time thing for me. She just, even the development they try to give her in Volume 4 or 5, and she keeps sticking around like she belongs. She doesn't. She feels so out of place. Honestly, they should have just got rid of her, honestly, entirely. But instead, they kept her around, and she still is around. Please fucking jeez Christ, I'm gonna have an aneurysm. This character sticks around. The finale is alright. The Team Ruby actually is part of the finale, or is the reason the finale happens instead of just being there and the finale happens and they're like, oh wow, we did it, team. Instead of it being like, oh, I did it. But I guess Team Ruby's here too. Oh no. That was pretty good. And all in all, this one was an alright volume, but there's nothing like to go too home about. That being said, it wasn't the worst, so this one was alright. Alright, so coming in at number 4, we have Volume 1. Might catch some heat for this, but hear me out. For me, Volume 1 just feels like an introductory volume. Like, it introduces us to the characters, introduces us to the story, the world, the everything. That being said, it just only feels like that. It feels just like the introductory, the bare minimum. But that being said, sometimes simple and bare minimum is pretty good, and that's why people don't shit on this one for just being simple. That being said, I can't give it too much credit because it's pretty simple and by the books for an interesting, like, not interesting, but introductory volume. Like, characters go on wacky shenanigans, characters get their base outline of personality, weapon, face, whatever. And sometimes the animation in this one just really shows its age. Like, there's one specific part in the, I think it was the Nevermore and the Deathstalker fight. One scene still haunts me to this day. Just, sometimes the animation just gets, like, really bad. And sometimes it's a little too eye jarring. That being said, there's still a decent amount of positives. There's a whole lot of positives. Characters actually fight. The characters are actually characters with, things happening. And the soundtrack's pretty good, There's a whole lot to hate about this one. That being said, I can't give it a whole lot of love either, since there's not a whole lot to look at. So yeah, that's volume 1. Alright, so coming in at number 3, we have volume 2. Honestly, I was really conflicted whether to flip flop 1 and 2, and put 2 and 4, and 1 and 3. Ultimately, I decided to go with 2 being slightly higher, mostly due to the fact that this one is basically 1, but not an introductory volume, and it gets the benefit of that since instead it's more wacky shenanigans and characters. That being said, this also has some drawbacks. For example, the finale is kind of one of the bad finales since nothing really happens in this one. Nothing really carries over really to other volumes. Like, if you took this volume out, there's not a lot that's going to change. If you sure a few things are going to change, but I don't think a whole lot is going to change if you take this one out. That being said, it's still a fun volume. It's still a fun volume to listen to look at, to smell, to hear, to feel. Overall, this one is just pretty solid all around. There are its flaws, there are its pros. For example, some of its bad things that happens is obviously its finale. It's a lot of action, but not a whole lot of not a talk. There's not really anything going on other than just action in that finale, and it's kind of notorious for that sometimes. And again, the animation sometimes really shows its age. Like, again, that's one of the downsides for this whole thing and this whole volume. And the older ones is that their age just really shows. But that being said, it's an all-around good volume. Not a whole lot to hate, and a lot to praise. So this is why it's this high. So yeah. All right. So coming in at number 2, we have Volume 7. Now, this one usually isn't on everyone's list this high up, but it's on mine, so eat it. Anyways, this one's just so enjoyable. I love this volume. Everything from the story to the characters to the way the people move to the way the clouds look to the everything. This one is just so enjoyable. Just such a joy to watch. It felt like Ruby again, where it's so simple. You can just enjoy it just by watching it. Having to put so much brain power to figure out what characters do and why they do them. It has a depth to them. Characters' actions have consequences. Characters are actually characters that act like characters instead of cardboard cutouts. Although a few of them kind of stick out and don't really apply to this rule. Yeah, which is one of the negatives, and some of the characters kind of wacky, which I won't get too in depth with, but I would have to make an entire fucking video for me to get over the positives and negatives and the whole thing. Honestly, this volume deserves a whole fucking video for it, on why it's so good. But all in all, this one's just so solid. I like this one, mostly because of Ironwood. But hey, that's besides the fact. Coming in number one. If you know your alphabet, you already know what numbers left that I hadn't said already. Give it up for Volume 8. That's right. You've been tricked this entire time thinking Volume 3 was gonna be it, but it was actually the other way around. 3 is the worst one, and 8 is the best one. But in all seriousness, Volume 3 is peak Ruby all around. The characters are characters. The story has a story. Everything just fits right together. And I'll be honest, the animation isn't even that bad either. It's honestly such an improvement. Every character is like just so fucking good. The story is simple, and the finale is great. Mostly all around. Oh my god, it's such peak fucking Ruby despite its depressing ass depressing ass fucking ending. Like fucking Pyrrha. Anyways, there's still some negatives. Like they killed Roman off, which I don't know if I agree with it. Granted, if he lived, he might have outstayed his welcome. So I guess it was a decent send off for Roman. As much as everyone loves Roman, I think if he stuck around long enough, he might have outlived his welcome. Kind of like how Adam was. But like this one was just so fucking good. Oh my god, I could go on and on about this one. But like with Volume 7, I'm not gonna go too in depth with this one. A few standouts. Ruby's pretty good in this volume. Yang's very good in this one because Yang is it's not volume 4 and through Yang. She actually has her personality. I miss old Yang so much. Oh my god. It's gonna give me fucking tears. But all in all, this one is a solid volume all around. And again, we need a whole fucking video for me to go through everything about it. So, yeah, that's gonna do it. Alright, so that's gonna conclude my Ruby list, tier list, rating, review thing. Yeah, this one took a long time to fucking do because I was just really lazy. But if you would like to see something else along the line of this, like separate videos to going over the specific volumes, I'm more than happy to do it in my spare time. So, also, if the quality sounded like complete shit, because I did most of this on my phone. I don't have a microphone, and I don't feel like go getting a microphone when I can just do it on my phone. And also, most of this are just still pictures because I'm editing most of this on my phone and not a computer, because reasons. But anyways, if you enjoyed this, let me know your opinion on what your tier list goes or some shit. I don't fucking know. I really wanted to get this out already. It's kind of been sitting on the shelf for too long. But if you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe, tickle my balls. I don't fucking know.